Welcome back to Out There with Dan. I want to show you a killer roast beef roll recipe that I cooked for 5 other blokes on a recent trip I did. But first, I want to show you some footage from that trip and share with you some really important news. I'm on my way to Myrtleford, which is just south of Albury, near the border of New South Wales and Victoria. And I'm meeting some work friends there who are coming from the other side of the border, and we're going to do some tracks in the high country. It was a trip that was planned for last year, but it didn't eventuate because called off at the last minute because of the lockdowns in Victoria. So we're going to have another crack at it. You may have noticed my video production has slowed down a little bit in the last couple of months, and that's because we've welcomed our new son to the family. His name's Heath. 5 weeks ago he was born, so 5 weeks ago from today. My wife's well, Paisley's coping all right, Heath's doing all the right things, even though he's keeping us up at night, but he's doing all the right things, which is wonderful. So, had to reassess my short-term priorities, figure out what normal looks like at home, and don't worry, I've got plenty of exciting stuff planned for the channel for the rest of 22. I decided to put the camera down for the most part, guys. I was the +1 in the group and just wanted to get to know some new mates and switch off a bit. Most of them were exploring the whole week, but 2 nights was enough given my commitments at home.
You get really hungry lunchtime. If you skip breakfast, if you don't wake up fast,
As we left the top of the trig point on Blue Rag Range, we saw the snow clouds chasing behind us. We may well have been the last convoy through there before the seasonal closures, right before that icy Antarctic blast hit southern Australia at the start of June. So we're doing roast beef with Out There with Dan special rub, a gravy from scratch to go with it, some nice crusty bread rolls, and some rocket to go on top so that I might live longer. I've been experimenting traveling a bit lighter with my fire pit gear. So instead of carrying it in the Snow Peak bag, I've just put the fire pit itself with no grill bridge, nothing else, just in this pocket in my wheel bag, and the RIBEYE grill fits perfectly in this other pocket. This is a really neat wheel bag and it can fit a whole lot of stuff, but perfect for the fire pit. 2 parts freshly ground coffee, 4 parts brown sugar, 1 part oregano, 2 parts cracked pepper. I'm trying a new Cambodian pepper. 1 part paprika, smoked paprika, 1 part cumin, and 1 part cayenne pepper. If you don't want that real deep heat, the spice, then just leave the cayenne pepper out. And of course, the all successful spice, salt, 3 parts. These are all very earthy, delicious tones that complement each other nicely, but the real X factor is the coffee. So if you haven't tried coffee as a rub on beef, you're missing out. And the brown sugar really helps, I guess, offset or complement the earthy flavors, and also helps us develop that crust in the early stages, which you'll see. The caffeine should all cook off, but if you're worried, you can use decaffeinated. Crushed up enough to dissolve, enough water to just cover the bottom, barely, definitely not enough to touch the meat, and that'll form the base of our gravy. Alright, I've patted down the meat a bit, rid of that. Just going to put the tiniest bit of canola oil on it. If there was a big fat cap on the meat, I'd probably take that off. Liberally apply this on. The canola oil will help it stick really nicely. If you've got time, you should take it out of the fridge a few hours earlier. It hits a point where nothing else will stick to it, and that's how you know you got enough rub on. Before whacking it in the camp oven, I'm going to sear it on both sides using the RIBEYE grill. I've got a review coming up of this thing. I love it. That will just create a nice browned outside, add a lot of flavour, and complement the brown sugar in the rub as well. Meat's in, just like that. And now's your chance to sprinkle any rub you've got left on. Just helps nicely. Like I said, travelling light, no stand for the fire pit, no grill bridge, which means the RIBEYE has to just sit there at a fixed height, which is okay. I'm going to put coals on the top and bottom of the oven, a little less on top because it's closer to the meat and I find burns just that little bit quicker or it's a bit hotter. I'm aiming for an internal temp of about 60 degrees, and now I can kick back and enjoy. Alright, we're in the Bunyip State Forest, not too far from our place. It's recovered really well from the fires a couple of years back. You can hear the birds, it's so green, it's just really wonderful to see. This is one of my little haunts that I come up to and drive around. There's not too many spots. I had to search pretty hard to find a nice spot to film, a secluded spot, just because there's not much space off the shoulder of the arterial roads, and there's only a couple of camping spots and they're usually pretty busy. So alas, we found a nice spot. Kind of needed the bit of a break from home for a few hours. Having two kids is much more challenging than one. I believe everyone that said now 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, it equals way more. But it's good. When Paisley was little, you know, she wasn't putting on weight, we couldn't feed her enough, and it's the absolute complete opposite with Heath. He's just demolishing everything we give him, all the milk, and then he's demanding more. So he's a demanding little baby. He's doing all the right things, but gee, it's making it tough. But yeah, I mean, life's good. We've got 2 healthy kids. What more can we ask for? It'd be really nice though if I could get a decent night's sleep. Bit crispy on the top there, like I said. Oof, it's gonna be good. We're gonna let this rest about 10 minutes or so, and in that time we'll be able to make the gravy. It starts with melting butter. So I've got about 1/3 of a stick in there. If you've got 2 people, maybe half a stick, and if you've got a group, don't be afraid to use the whole chub. And sort of create your own little spot. Move the coals around it to melt it. I'm going to tip in everything that was left in the bottom of the camp oven. There was a stock cube to start, and then it's all the earthy, salty deliciousness that was left over. I'm just going to stir that in. Oh, flared up there, got out just in time. Got to be really careful. I should have a glove on this hand, not that hand. Once you stir it, that'll start looking like a gravy. Now, you just add a fraction of flour, a little bit at a time, like a teaspoon at a time or a half teaspoon at a time. And then you keep stirring it as you add it in. And really, you don't need much flour. It's just this tiny bit of thickening that you need to... Oh, that's probably too much. I'm going to get rid of that. I reckon that'll be good. Let's try it on. Don't need butter because there's butter in the gravy. See if my big knife does alright on bread as well. That'll do. Alright, get that out of the way. Oh, so good. Cooked pretty quick, quicker than I thought. Hopefully it's not too tough. Just dip this sauce in the gravy. So yeah, that's good. Good plan. Yeah, got a bit crusty on the top there, but looks pretty good otherwise. Oof, that looks good. Have a look at that. Nice and pink on the inside. Still some bloody juices. Got it to just over 60, 62 to 63. So medium rare to medium. A nice bit off the end. Like I said, very earthy tones. The cayenne pepper, it gets you every time. It's like at your first bite, you first start chewing, you can't feel it, and it just rises. It's just got this beautiful undertone of heat. So delicious. Alright, get some in a roll. Oh, look at this gravy. Can't see it well from there. Ah, so good. Yum. And then rocket. This rocket looks a bit sad. I bought it last week and I've been using it. I thought I'd buy more, but this is what I found at the supermarket. So, old rocket, still good. Alright. Yep. It's good. It's very good. There it is, the Out There with Dan coffee rub roast beef rolls. If you like this video, I think you'll like my roast lamb that I've done and also my ribeye steaks that I've cooked on the fire pit.